Okay, this video is going to be about creating rectangular patterns, and we can do it two ways. We can do it in the sketch, or we can do it in the feature, already created, and you can do it on irregular shaped shapes also. So let's start with just a flat piece here. So we'll start a sketch on here, and let's put a little rectangle up here. I want my rectangle to be like 0.25 by 0.5, and I'm going to dimension it. I'm going to say 0.5, and then from there to the edge, I'm going to say 0.5. Okay. Now I've got my sketch. I can do the rectangular pattern from here in the sketch, which is the way I'll do this one. Um, we first choose our geometry that we want to copy, and so I have to pick all four sides of the rectangle. And now I have to pick a direction. And so this in AutoCAD, this is the same as a rectangular array. And so in AutoCAD, it's called columns and rows. In Inventor, it's direction one, direction two. So I'll go direction one. I'm going to choose the edge of this part, and it will drag them across this way. First, I set my spacing, and the spacing is like from this edge to the corresponding edge on the repeated pattern. I'm going to make that 0.75. And now we set how many we want. Okay, we'll just go with 5. That'll make it simple. And if that's all you needed, then that would be fine. Now, if you need a pattern down, that would be considered rows in AutoCAD. If you need columns, you go direction 2, pick that, and you see now it's going up, so I've come here and changed my direction. And the same way with the distance, it's from this edge all the way down to this edge. So let's make that 0.5, and let's go with 5. We'll go with 6 rows. Okay, now some of the other options on here, let's see. Symmetric would be going both ways from where your sketch is, and that pushes it outside there. We don't want that. Boundary, if you needed to set a boundary instead of just using the feature. And so now you tell it OK. And now you've got a pattern sketched across there, and you could extrude that. But you see, you have to go through and select every one of them. And I don't think there's not a select similar. Okay, so you have to go through and select all of them. And then you can do extrusion, or you can do cuts. So I'm going to do a cut and through all. And so there it is. Okay, so now let's back up. I'm going to delete that and the sketch. Okay, so let's start over here and put a sketch again. Now we'll do it in the model. And we'll extrude that one. We'll go ahead and cut that one. And now we can do a rectangular pattern based on features. And so we select the cut. And then we give it our direction And direction 2, flip it. And here we've got options. We can go with spacing, you know, from edge to the object, or we can give a total distance that we want it to go and then the number that we need. If we don't want to calculate the spacing, you can just play with those. And curve length is if you were doing something around a curve, around an arc. So we'll leave it at spacing and we'll go okay. And so then it creates that. So you see that's a lot easier, quicker way if you're doing a rectangular pattern of cuts. Now here I've got an object with a curved surface. It may be, it's a little too thick. I'll tell you what, let's shell this just for giggles, huh? My mouse is like wonky this morning. Okay, so we shelled that out just for giggles to show you what. And this is kind of similar to the problem that we're going to do later in the week, the hairdryer. Now we need a work plane. So because we want to put a sketch up on this top surface. So we're going to go offset a work plane. And as long as you're up, I don't know how tall that is. Needs to go higher. So as long as you're above the part, you don't have to be exactly on the part. As long as you're above it, that's fine. And so now we'll do a sketch on here. Flip that back around so we can see. And we'll do the same. But you can do any kind of shape you want, whether it's rectangles or rounded ends, slots, whatever. And then let's go ahead and extrude that with a cut through all. And you can see it cut through it there, okay? Come on here. My 3D mouse is not working right today. Okay, and so now we want to, let's do a rectangular pattern. Choose the hole. Direction 1, I'm going to choose the bottom edge because that's straight, not arched. And got to flip my direction. Well, let's see how this is going to work, okay? I'm just going to say okay for that. It didn't cut the top because it's below the arc. Interesting. Okay. So in a case like this, you would have to, well, let's go back in and look at it. Whoa. No, it still didn't do it. Okay, so when you're going across a curved surface, you'll need to do the pattern in a sketch. So let's delete that. We'll delete this, but save the sketch. Oh, I got to go back into the sketch. Sorry. I'm just going to leave the spacing as it is. Oh, direction 2. And then we would need to extrude those. Cut through all. Oh, I missed one there. Okay, so that's so if you're on a curved surface, you got to do sketch first, and then extrude all your cuts. So that's how you work with rectangular patterns.